everybody into a supermarket in a mad rush, because you don't need to, because it's not affecting supermarket times in any meaningful way. There, therefore, will be from Saturday night, the 11th of September, a curfew the curfew will go from 11 p.m. to 9 p.m. every night, with the exception of Sundays. On Sundays, because we know sometimes we can go in and get an easy rest and play some cards, or watch a movie, or read a book, or talk with family, curfew will be at 6 p.m. And we're asking persons to adhere to those things. There is one exception. We recognize that restaurants are back into business, and we're asking people to go for early suppers. The restaurants can stay and serve up until about 8:30 for those who live half hour away or 15 minutes away. But we are given what is otherwise known an extended pass, or laissez-passer, to those restaurant workers, so that they can get home and will have the additional time. They will be allowed to be on the road until 11 p.m. when the curfew finishes at 9, and until 8 p.m. when the curfew finishes at 6. It means on Sundays, and that will allow them to be able to clean up and to get home in good time without having to rush and put themselves at risk. And I would expect that the owners of those restaurants will assist there. Wherever possible, we're asking people to remember, don't gather, especially for the next 2 weeks. We're asking for fast food restaurants, however, and mercifully, from last year, major fast food restaurants in this country, Chefette, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, Chicken Barn, those major fast food restaurants have either delivery or drive-through. And we are therefore going to prohibit dining in those fast food restaurants for the next 2 weeks, while at the same time continuing to ask you not to gather in shops or places inside where there is an outdoor option, and also not to overly expose yourself in crowds in any way. We met last week with the churches, and we've already agreed to individual church plans, so there is no change on that, and we hope to be able to have plans for each church that is appropriate to the particular risk that they face. And I think that we had good meetings with the Barbados Christian Council and the Barbados Evangelical Council on that. We also spoke to the warehouses, or those buildings where ventilation is poor, and we spoke with the private sector, and I know that the relevant officials in the government are in fact dealing with individual entities to be able to ensure that we can improve ventilation, because as I said before, this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. Given the fact that we want to slow down, we're asking now for us to hold on all contact and team sports for the next 2 weeks. And it may well have to be another 2 weeks if the vaccination numbers are not up for those contact and team sports, and also no hiking. And we're asking for that because we believe that for now, slow down. We don't need to lock down if we can slow down and we can vaccinate. And that is absolutely critical. I've already spoken to you about the proper mask wearing, but I've asked the Attorney General to please ensure that that is now explicit in the protocols, that persons must wear the mask above their nose and below their chin. It is not coming with a penalty, but it is coming as a reminder to persons that this is nothing to play with, especially with the Delta variant. Similarly, my friends, we have also agreed that against that backdrop, since we are putting these measures in place in order to go into communities, in order to boost vaccination, we will go into communities where people are. And why? As I've explained to many persons, a mother with 3 children, 2 above 12, 1 below the age of 12. For her to carry the 3 children and herself, or the 2 children and herself, she can't leave the younger child at home alone. So first of all, she's moving with 4. If she has to catch bus, she's got to pay bus fare to go to town. Do you ever see a child going town yet and don't want something? They want something to eat. They want something. They're therefore going to have to help satisfy the children with that. Whenever done, this exercise can cost a mother $60, $70 before she catch herself. It is against that backdrop that we have agreed, therefore, to carry community vaccine stations, and they started today with Deacon's Farm and Silver Hill being the two areas that the community vaccines have gone into. Similarly, tomorrow we go into the Pine Housing area and Haynesville. Saturday we go into New Orleans in Bridgetown and Maynard's housing area in St. Peter. Sunday we go to Bush Hall and we go to Orange Hill in St. Andrew and St. James. Then we go and the list will go out. On Monday, Carrington Village and Ellerton, and I can go on and on. But what we have agreed is that we must have community vaccine stations. The Minister of Health this morning also issued a directive to his officials that as a matter of policy, that the government of Barbados now will extend the opportunity to private doctors to help also in the vaccination campaign. And that is absolutely critical if we are to meet where we want to go, so that this slowdown that we're doing in the next 2 weeks and possibly 4 weeks will be contextualized against how we can increase our vaccination rates and how we can minimize our hospitalization and minimize the number of deaths. We accept and have been meeting with BAM such that those private doctors that will be brought on board, the government will pay them to be able to administer the vaccine so that they do not have to charge any citizen either for the vaccine or for the literal using and administering the vaccine on any patient. This is not meant to charge anyone, and the government will stand in the breach for all Barbadians with respect to vaccines. I also want to remind us that as we do these things, please, that contact tracing is taking place, and we need to make sure that as many of you get tested as possible. Separate from the large site at the gymnasium, which now has 2 separate lines for those people traveling, and then for those who just want to go, we are trying to expand, and we have been having through Dr. Bayer and the mobile clinic, mobile testing clinics all over the island as pop-up clinics, but we're also seeking to do fixed additional alternative sites for testing. As Minister Bostic already told you, we have gotten over the hump that we had last weekend, which happened for a few days with a backlog, and we are satisfied that we will continue to refine the process. But we also have additional labs, as the public already knows, both at the Crane as well as at Bayview Hospital, that are helping us in this effort. As I said, why test? The earlier you know you have symptoms, or the earlier you're not feeling well, or the earlier you have the virus, if you're asymptomatic and you've tested, the easier and quicker it is for you to recover. I am stuttering. I'm telling you the truth. Catch it early and you got a chance. And why am I saying all of these things, my people? Because at the end of the day, we do not want to lose any more people. I can wait until a lot more things happen and to get to panic mode. That's not who we are. We want to plan, and we want you to take in front before in front take you. And those who keep saying, we're going to wait and we're going to wait, time isn't waiting on you. Delta don't respect ages. Delta don't respect gender. Delta don't respect class. Delta don't respect nothing so. And therefore, if you are to protect yourself, then you can't wait and do it in somebody else's time or in your time. You need to do it as soon as possible. And I'm asking you, therefore, to help us reach, each one of us, reach one to be able to do that. Against that backdrop as well, as I said, the curfew time, I'm being told, to clarify, the curfew time will go from 11 p.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. But on Sunday, it will go to 6 p.m. So, to put it another way, there will be curfew in Barbados from 9 p.m. at night to 5 a.m. in the morning, on Monday to Saturday, and on Sunday nights from 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. And that makes that absolutely clear for you. At the same time, we are also asking persons, please, to recognize and give the proper information when you're doing the contact tracing. And to make sure, Jeffrey has said, for the most part, the majority of people are helping. But I want everyone to help, because we only need 2 or 3 not helping for this thing to get ahead of us. I repeat, the information on home isolation and home quarantine will be made to you, and the criteria for it, which will require security guards or alternatively persons may say, I don't want a security guard, I prefer to have a monitoring bracelet as well as a CCTV camera, as well as a periodic check-in of the Ministry of Health persons. We get it. And with respect to persons who may not have appropriate status, nobody had asked you for the status to go for the vaccine here. Go and get the vaccine. We have given to everybody, and we don't ask where you're born, how you're here, nothing like that. Take the vaccine. The virus doesn't ask you where you're born or who you get here either. The virus just takes a host and uses you as a basis to go to somebody else. So I'm asking us, please, to focus on these things. My friends, Barbados is not alone in these issues. We have taken a lot of decisions that have reduced the number of deaths from what it might otherwise be. And the fact that we only have 52 deaths is 52 too many. But there are other countries across the world and across the region that are facing numbers in 3 and 4 digit deaths. I do not want us to get there. I swear to you, I do not want us to get there. And we need your help not to get there. We need your help in the homes and in the crannies, because the government is not going into people's homes. We can't go into your home. Only you can do that. That's your right. And that's what you need to do. But you need to help us help you. And that is what this conversation today is about. And if I have to come again, I'm going to come again, because I told you I'm a Jimmy Cliff girl. And I'm going to come and we're going to try and try and try until we get it to that point where we can live comfortably and where we're not risking death, even if we're risking the contraction of the virus. The virus will be with us for some time, but death does not have to be with us at all. And serious hospitalization does not have to be with us at all. The reality is that the evidence is showing that the Caribbean is red hot as we speak. And the reality also is that in being hot, what it means is that countries are under pressure. I have therefore asked the Chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister of Antigua, the Honorable Gaston Brown, because I really do believe that if ever there was a time for an urgent heads meeting, it has to be in the next few days. And I've asked for that meeting. One, because we need to coordinate our resources internally, but we also need to have a démarche to our international partners to help this region at the very time when its needs are greatest. And secondly, so that we can also speak with one voice to our people in this region, for whom the culture of vaccine hesitancy is rooted in the other aspects of our culture, which we have come to enjoy and to be happy with. But it is now having a backlash, and therefore we have to be able to speak to our people to recognize that this thing is real, it is not playing, and let us get on board and protect ourselves. The government can protect you only so far, but it is up to each and every one of you, not just to protect yourself as an adult, but to protect those babies to 12-year-olds that we cannot otherwise protect by any other mechanism. I hope, therefore, my friends, that we can do this journey together. And I ask you simply, let us get on board. Let us each one reach one. And if we can do so, then I'm comfortable that even though we must live with COVID, that like dengue, like chickenpox, like a serious flu, it will not cause our country, our people, our households to grind to a halt, to be locked down, or worse than that, to be lost from this earth. I believe we can do it. I ask you, as soon as you can from today, each one reach one, because that is how we're going to, in the words of Jeffrey, have no surrender and no retreat. Thank you very much.
And thank you very